Thank you to Shopify for sponsoring this video. More on them in just a bit.
Reject Nation, I just got out of the Lilo and Stitch live action remake. And for those who don't know what this movie is about, quick plot is it's about a lonely young girl named Lilo who lives in Hawaii. She adopts what she thinks is a dog, only to discover it's a chaotic alien experiment who will become Stitch, who's crash landed here on Earth. Government agents and alien scientists are closing in, but Lilo teaches Stitch the true meaning of family, healing both their broken lives in the process. If you've kept up with me, you know these Disney live action remakes usually are not my thing. Mufasa really didn't work for me. Snow White was very tough to sit through. So I went into this one with cautious optimism. And here's the thing. I barely remember the original. I saw it once in the theaters as a kid, and honestly, I couldn't tell you a thing about it. So I got to experience this on its own terms without nostalgia goggles a lot of people are probably bringing into this experience. And honestly, yeah, the movie, it's messy, it's chaotic, the pacing is a little odd, it's loud, but it's also cute as hell and packed with a shit ton of heart because at its core, that's what Lilo and Stitch is about. It's about family. OHANA, you gotta say it if you're talking about the movie. It's not perfect family. It's messy, broken, but a beautiful family, the kind that heals together, and it's about friendship too. And the film, sure, it opens with some questionable CGI. It's really questionable. It had me a little worried, but once it transitions into, the live action terrain, the movie shifts into something much more emotionally engaging. It starts to feel more real. The emotional beats land a little harder. The silliness does find its place. Do not know how to pronounce this actress's name. Maia Kealoha as Lilo is ridiculously adorable. There are moments where the direction feels a bit like, say this line now, exactly like this. But even with that, she brings such a natural presence to the role. Overall, she's like fantastic casting. Her energy is so sincere and raw. Doesn't ever really feel like a kid trying too hard. It just feels like Lilo to me. Her bond with Sydney Agudong as Nani genuinely feels like sisters. You believe the stress, you believe the tension, the love, the small moments of comfort. It's probably the emotional core that holds this whole movie together. And I'll be real too, this might be a bit biased, but as a Filipino, seeing faces that reminded me of my own family on screen made it feel special in a way I wasn't expecting. I don't know the exact background of all the actors, but the casting felt grounded and personal, and they looked like Filipinos, and that's all that matters to me. And there is something meaningful about seeing people who look like you in a major Disney film that's not about royalty, but about real working class people doing their best. Zach Galifianakis as Jumba and Billy Magnussen as Pleakley. They're a fun pair, and genuinely, their scenes are hit or miss, though sometimes they're laugh out loud funny, and other times it feels like we've taken a bit of a detour into Disney Channel territory, but that's not bad. I love a lot of those Disney Channel original movies. It's one of those cases where I think the animated format may have supported the tone better, but they do have a pretty good dynamic overall. A lot of the big laughs are actually coming from them. Also, quick side note, Jason Scott Lee is in this movie. Do you guys remember him? That made me smile. Anyone remember, Dragging the Bruce Lee Story, or that forgotten but somewhat charming live action Jungle Book movie from the 90s? Anyway, seeing him pop up here made me weirdly nostalgic. That's where my nostalgia is, not in the animated movie, but Jason Scott Lee. I don't know, just having him there kind of added a cool presence and a fun little Easter egg for me. The setting of the movie, while the traditional Hawaiian music wasn't super prevalent, the film itself felt like a great advertisement for Hawaii. I've never been, but this movie made me want to go. The visuals, the beaches, the landscapes, the homes, they gave the whole movie a real world texture that made the emotional moments more grounded. And it makes you want to be there, to step into that sun-drenched little town with Lilo and her OHANA.
Reject Nation, when we started this company, there was no manual. Throughout the years of figuring out how to edit, how to be on camera, and with this company expanding, we were like, now we want to figure out how to sell merch, handle orders, and do it all in a way that actually looked, well, legit. And if I'm being real, I wish we had Shopify on our side. from day one. Because today we use Shopify to power RejectNationShop.com, one of our main sources of income, one of the best way to support the channel, and it's in large part thanks to Shopify, and we're not alone. Shopify supports millions of businesses around the world, from huge names like Mattel and Gymshark to people just getting started. And it's really easy to use. You can pick from hundreds of ready-to-use templates to match your brand style. And their built-in AI tools to help write product descriptions, generate discount codes, even enhance your product photography. You don't need a full team. Shopify helps you market too. You can run email and social campaigns straight from the platform. Efficiency. And the back end, it handles shipping, inventory, returns, all of it. So if you're ready to sell, you are ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for a $1 per month trial and start selling at shopify.com/rejects. Once again, that's shopify.com/rejects. Thank you, Shopify, for helping become an extension of Real Rejects.
Now, the main thing to talk about, Stitch. Stitch is chaos, destructive, loud, wild, but also vulnerable. His arc, going from a literal alien menace to a creature trying to belong, that resonates. It really does. And credit to the VFX team, man. Stitch looks incredible. Easily one of the best looking CGI characters I've seen in a Disney live action film. He looks more believable than the lions or the dwarves. He looks more alive, more textured, more expressive. That realism actually goes a long way. I think they really nailed his design. You want to believe Stitch is real, and I felt like he was real. Stitch, he isn't just cute. He feels like he has a soul. There's a life in his eyes and his little movements. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to own one doll of Stitch after watching this. With that being said, you know, it's a Disney live action movie, so it's not all sunshine. The pacing is a bit rough. Some scenes linger too long while others rush by. The visual effects are a bit inconsistent. Stitch looks great constantly, but other CGI characters, not so much. Courtney B. Vance, who's an exceptional actor, is an important character, but is yet underutilized. It doesn't really give him too much to do beyond like look cool and serious. The tone kind of jumps around. Sometimes the comedy really works. Other times it kind of clashes with the film or feels too juvenile. As I was leaving the theater, I overheard a few people saying they weren't huge fans of it, especially folks who clearly loved the original. They felt like it was missing some of the heart or emotional nuance that made the animated version so beloved. And hey, that might be true. I get that. I know what it's like to feel that with these movies, but coming from someone who doesn't remember the original, I didn't feel like I was missing anything. I was questioning some stuff, but I didn't feel like I was missing anything. I wasn't constantly comparing it to what it used to be. I was never really wowed with the movie, but there was enough sense of wonder. Some moments were really sweet, some were fun, some were sort of visually magical. And the emotional core between Lilo, Nani, and Stitch really did land for me, and that's like the most important thing. I think that's the biggest takeaway here. If you're going in hoping for a flawless recreation of the animated classic, you might walk away a little disappointed. But if you go in open to a fresh take and you're okay with some imperfections in exchange for genuine heart-strong performances and a really well done Stitch, you might just walk out of this movie with a smile. I watched this movie just wanting to have a good time. It's a movie made for families. It's not really deep, even though it's got some good messages. It's not trying to be prestige cinema. It's just enjoyable entertainment with a message about things that really matter to me: belonging, connection, and unconditional love. Is it worth rushing to the theaters, though? Maybe not. I wouldn't say so. But once it hits like Disney Plus or VOD, I think it's absolutely worth taking a watch, especially compared to what some of these other Disney live action remakes have been. I think this one is much more worth it than some of the other ones. But hey, that's just my opinion. What did you guys think about this? Do you want more live action remakes of Disney? I know that this terrain seems to be like, hey, are they going to stomp the brakes on this? But if they want to keep doing some of these live action ones, I feel like this is a bit more in the direction that Disney can actually do. However, I can't imagine that this is better than the original. From when people talk about the original, it sounds like just kind of a flawless animated movie, and this movie's like a lot of its imperfections really do show, but I do think the positives ultimately do outweigh some of the negatives. Leave your thoughts down below, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. This is kind of weird doing solo when I see a bunch of people watching me, so appreciate it if I seemed a little bit awkward. Yeah, I'm a little bit awkward right now because I'm a tad uncomfortable by all these people watching me. Even as I'm saying this, I'm looking at people watching me. It's really freaking weird. All right, we'll see you guys soon.